The day is Wednesday, the 26th day of January 2022. Good morning. This is KBC News Check, and welcome to this program. In the News Check today, we are looking at a variety of things that are currently happening in the country. Of course, the political sphere has quite changed since Sunday. It's just 2-3 days from Sunday, but a lot has happened. We will be looking at a variety of political issues in this first hour. But before we do that, let's first of all cross over to the Serena Hotel, where the Office of the Attorney General is launching its 5-year strategic plan. And also in attendance is the Auditor General and also the Speaker of the National Assembly. Let's first of all cross over there, then we officially start our program. Good morning.
Also in the room, CP Ariaga, I don't know whether you're still around. If you're around, please wave. Thank you. I would equally want to recognize the presence of the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management, Council Member Moses Omondi, representing the chair, wherever you are, kindly wave. Thank you. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution is equally represented today by the Head of Finance, wherever you're seated.
Apologies for that technical hitch. We'll be getting back to the Serena Hotel for more, but good morning. My name is Ben Troinjoel. Lensa Odingo will be our sign language interpreter for this live program. And talking about politics, a lot has happened. And perhaps the newest or the most shocking was yesterday's Parliament, what I would call self-destruction mode, after it actually declined to pass the motion or the bill that would have set the House Business Committee. What does that mean? A lot is at stake. What that means is that we cannot even pass the 2022-2023 budget. Civil servants' pays are on limbo, and also the general polls. That is the election. We have to have a budget, but how can we pass the budget if Parliament has not put its house in order? Of course, they are trying to salvage the situation, but is that just the tip of the iceberg? Also, in the political sphere, we saw the Mount Kenya Foundation having a sitting with the leaders from the Maa region, and also in attendance was Azimio la Umoja presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga. Also, we are seeing a lot of political activities. The Deputy President is also stepping up his campaigns after his alliance, so-called the famous earthquake on Sunday. So today they will be in Nakuru, and later they will be proceeding to Bungoma before coming back to Murang'a over the weekend. But to help us delve deeper into matters politics, I'm joined by a political scientist and also governance expert, Mr. Martin Andati. Karibu sana.
Asante, enjoy.
We are still in January. Happy New Year. We haven't seen each other.
The year is late.
But a lot is happening.
Old and young.
It's still young.
Yeah, there's so much. You know, a day in politics is a long time.
Yes. Sunday's earthquake. A lot of people didn't expect that, but it has caused a lot of ripple effects in even places that we didn't expect, even in Azimio. Yesterday we saw the head of state actually having a sitting with the Western Kenya leaders. What do you make of the Azimio chances now that we have a new alliance, we have a new kid on the block, ANC, Ford Kenya, and also UDA, led by Deputy President? We saw what they did yesterday. ANC allied MPs, Ford Kenya, and UDA allied MPs. What they did yesterday that polarized the business of the House of the National Assembly.
There is going to be a lot of movement on both sides of the political divide, and the alliances will shift and shift and shift again. I think Musalia's move, one, it weakens Raila to some extent, because the numbers Musalia will take to Ruto in the last dispensation were they went Raila. The only question is, will Musalia be able to carry along, Musalia and Wetangula carry along the entire Luhya nation? I doubt. Because if you look at, in the last dispensation, Jubilee got some votes, especially in Trans Nzoia and Bungoma, which were largely brought by the team which was Jubilee aligned at that time. But now you have some of those fellas who are in Jubilee, like Eugene, on the Raila side. Then now you have Musalia and Wetangula have moved to Ruto's side. But if you look at our politics, and I'm now speaking as a son of the soil, the Luhya nation, the expectation was that Musalia will go the whole hog. Of course, there was a press conference yesterday where they said that he's still a candidate. But for all intents and purposes, if it works as a duck, quacks like a duck, is a duck. So for all intents and purposes, there is no Musalia presidential bid anymore.
But
he can put on a breast fairs and say all sorts of things. But he got swallowed on Sunday. And you could see, if you looked at the hall before the UDA allied team came in, almost half of the hall was empty. They came in and occupied the other half, and there was an overflow. You remember Senator Malala requesting some of the people to create room for the visitors. So it tells you that Musalia does not have enough numbers in that coalition to become the presidential candidate. He is going to negotiate. I saw some of the papers yesterday saying that he settled for chief minister.
But that position does not exist.
It doesn't exist. That is what he also settled for in 2017. Yeah, and of course it was not existing. That time the Raila people were calling it chief premier minister. But you and me know that there is no such a position in the constitution, in the current constitution, the 2010 one. So the best he can do is, if at all they get power, is to make him the equivalent of what we call a super minister, like Matiang'i is now. You are given a docket, but with some enhanced powers, maybe to supervise the rest of the ministers. But there is no Musalia presidential bid anymore. But you can see it. They were demanding.
But because one thing, some of the MPs, they are still clinging to the fact that Musalia will be on the ballot. And you know very well, he cannot be, it's politics. What are his chances becoming
there are no more presidential chances. He will not be running mate. Ruto has already promised Mount Kenya that he's giving them running mate.
And they are still
clinging. And that is very clear. Yes. So, this game is very dicey. Ruto has already promised Mount Kenya, Raila has promised Mount Kenya running mate. So if Ruto makes that mistake and picks Musalia as running mate, the mountain vote will evaporate. So he can't make that mistake. So, and he's banging very heavily on the mountain. So he will maintain that position so that they don't say that, look, this guy has started cheating us even before he gets power.
Yes.
So if he were to get power, what will he do? So the issue of Musalia being running mate is out of the equation. So the only thing now maybe he can negotiate for is the zoning. I've talked to some of the guys that are my friends and my brothers. So they are saying that they will get Western zoned for ANC, so that in Vihiga and Kakamega, the UDA guys will have to join ANC and work with the NC teams there, so that they run on NC. Then in Bungoma and maybe Trans Nzoia, the UDA guys join Ford Kenya, so that is reserved for Wetangula. Then Busia, they can leave it open so that they battle it out with Azimio. So that is the thinking, and of course they are talking of 20-30% of government. It has not been concretized, but the part of the discussions, the people who are part of the discussions are my friends, so they have said that is what is on the table.
Yesterday,
but they have not come out with a document.
They are yet to go to
you can't see it because that is what they are saying. Yeah.
And yesterday, what we saw in Parliament, of course, a lot of Kenyans were disgruntled what the MPs did. And that is quite a selfish move they did, because we have seen the clear divisions. It's more or less the UDA, ANC, Ford Kenya side versus the Azimio. What we saw yesterday, and perhaps first of all we can have that clip, because not only did we see that happen yesterday during the session, the other session of the Political Parties Amendment Bill, we saw it was more or less the 2022 succession politics rather than being objective. Are the 2022 politics polarizing the country even before? Because we have seen parliamentarians now are not even being objective in their mandate in Parliament. Perhaps you can have that clip first of what transpired in Parliament yesterday and what is at stake.
Our office. You have, of course, done very well. As it is a noble duty, we must discharge the interest of our nation. Congratulations, our Auditor General and the entire office for this process, and we wish you well, and may God bless all of us. Thank you.
Proceed.
Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of counter opinion say nay? Nay. We will not be able to do any other business. Very well. So the House is adjourned until such time as the Speaker will be moved by the Leader of the Majority Party and Leader of the Minority Party on a motion based on Standing Order number 49.
Sisi tuko na numbers na tuko vile tumejipanga. Najua mbeleni walikuwa wakitupanga, lakini sasa hatupangiki. Sasa tutakuwa tunaangusha hizo miswada sote.
We are not willing at all to recede on the decision that we have made. Parliament, as it is done, is dissolved because we only have 6 months to election. So what waenda wafanya campaign?
Kwa sababu ya ile tamaa ya ubinafsi tu, kuonesha ubabe, yani mtu amefika paka hadhi ya namna hii. Hawajali.
Ukisema unafanya bunge lisiendelee kujadili, you are not punishing members of the handshake, you are not punishing ODM, you are not punishing Raila, you are punishing wananchi.
That's just an extract of what transpired at the National Assembly yesterday, because as we stand, no business can be transacted and a lot is at stake. But you can hear the hard-lined stances by members of Parliament. They're allied to the two divisions that we saw yesterday. And right now we're also joined by another political analyst, and you'll be vying for a position. You'll be telling us about that a little bit later. Andrew Nyagwansa.
Yes.
Nyagwansa.
Yes.
All right. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Gentlemen, perhaps to start with you, Martin. The MP there has said that at the end of the day, what we are doing, we are hurting Kenyans, not the two political sides.
They are basically now trying to flex muscle. But it's Pyrrhic victory. Because, you know, they show that now we have the numbers. The question is, you know, if you paralyze the operations of Parliament as we work currently, it becomes very difficult even for you to have elections. So when I see Sankok, who's my friend there, celebrating and saying they should go and campaign, how do you campaign if there is no money to hold the election? Because Parliament has to pass the budget for them to allocate IBC money to conduct the elections. 2, you need that money to pay them salaries and allowances. So, but what will happen? There is still a remedy. You know, this is not the first time. We've had similar situations before. When the late Saitoti was leader of majority in Parliament, we had a similar issue. And even when Marendo was speaker. So what will happen is they will make some small amendments on the list of the members of the House Business Committee. Then they take back the motion, possibly even today. And you know, the Tangatanga side is in Nakuru today, and they will be in Western on Friday. So what the other side will do is to organize when this side is not in. Yeah, no, that's how but that's how they're going to resolve it. So they will come back to Parliament with a new list, with 1 or 2, you change 1 or 2 names. And because the standing orders don't allow you to bring the same motion. So you remove 1 name on the House Business Committee, then substitute just 1 name. So that now is a different motion. Then you rescind that decision. So now that these ones will be out of Parliament, and you know, part of the reason must have been the handshake team was part of it was meeting the president. So that's 27 of the MPs were at Parliament. They didn't anticipate this because normally the House Business Committee motion is normally procedural. So it's never voted on. But the other side didn't anticipate that the Tangatanga side will spring a surprise and cause mischief. So it is they have to cure that. So I'm sure the majority leadership and the whips must have spent the midnight oil working. So don't be surprised in the afternoon to see them back in Parliament today with a new motion. And now that the other side is away, they will now marshal enough numbers to pass that. Of course, it's also an opportunity for them to also get some stipend. And they say every coin now for a politician is getting into politics. It's very critical. So you are able to get some chai to help you and facilitation. So it's good for them.
And the good thing, they have the leader of majority and the leader of minority on their side. And perhaps, Andrew, you are also a politician and you've seen what your fellow colleagues there did. The 2022 succession politics, they are now polarizing the country as we head to the general polls. Look at the political parties amendment bill. We saw the sharp divisions. We know where each and every MP now lies. He has to be on one of the bandwagons. What do you make of what the politicians did yesterday, as selfish as it may sound?
First and foremost, I have to appreciate the fact that we have democracy in Kenya. And this is what democracy is all about. Actually, you see, like the other time, before yesterday, we have seen the political parties amendment bill being passed in Parliament. The Tangatanga side was against some of the clauses in that bill. So what I'm trying to say is it is all about numbers. And you see with the coming of Musalia to Tangatanga side, that creates a new dimension in the politics of this country. And I can say now that the Tangatanga, even myself, I'm aligned to Tangatanga.
Actually, I wanted to ask the same question because I see from the color of your tie.
What you saw in Parliament is about now who has powers to control Parliament.
But Andrew, do you think that is quite fair for Kenyans? Because at the end of the day, these MPs, on both sides, they are not being objective. I'm a Kenyan. I want the House Business Committee so that I'm a civil servant. I want to get my pay. Right? There is the general polls, just slightly over 6 months away. They are not being objective.
In the first place, of course, it is not fair to Kenyans because Kenyans want to get what they have elected their members of parliament to do in parliament. But it happens that the Kenyan setting, the Kenyan politics we have is all about who belongs where. They don't mind about this bill is gonna assist my people. They just vote according to their alignment. But I want to say this, we also have to look at what is this are we discussing, are we going to pass in parliament? What is the impact to the common mwananchi? And you know, the Tanga side is so much aligned to the low income earners. Boda boda, mama mboga, and all those things. So what I'm saying is what happened yesterday is actually, I can say, they are trying to pay back what also was done during the political parties amendment bill. That is basically what is happening. It's about politics. So, and as we are in the political campaign season, I think that is what is mostly affecting. Even some of the members who may see that there is importance of changing this bill or participating according to what, as a member of parliament, I'm supposed to do, they have now gone to alignments. If I'm in UDA, in Tanga, if I'm in Azimio, so we will not meet. We'll have to push our agenda as the others push their agenda. And whoever wins is the one who has numbers. And as you can see, as of today, I think Tanga now has numbers in parliament. And that is going to be a serious tug of war in parliament in whatever bills that are going to come in the floor of the House.
Martin, could this be the 6th and the last session of the 12th Parliament, which is the worst ever? Because actually there is also the recall clause where Kenyans can say these members of Parliament are not doing what we told them. They are not actualizing their mandate, so we can recall them. Or they know we just have 6 months.
No, you can't recall.
They're holding us
It's
hostage, are they?
That has been overtaken by events. There are regulations that are supposed to pass to operationalize that. It never happened.
Because the same
no single MP, no single MCA has been recalled. So they know that is out of the way. But basically, they have only 2 months. 60 days to elections, Parliament is supposed to stand this out. So they have basically another 2 months. And do we even have the numbers? Because people are busy out there fighting for re-election. They are busy there fighting for realignment and alignment. So they don't have much time. In fact, if you ask some of them, they might not even know what they did yesterday. You see, now it's about emotions, it's about political scoring, it's about what the boss says. They want to please the big bosses. So if he says, let's shoot this down so that we teach the other side a lesson, then they beat us in terms of the numbers in Political Parties Amendment Act. So now this high side say, let's now beat them on this. So let's show them that we have the numbers. So it's basically flexing muscles. But in terms of paralysis of government, I don't think it will happen. I've told you there are 2 ways that can be sorted. One is bring back a rescission motion, which they will do. The other alternative is the president can still draw certain money from the consolidated funds. Then when you have a new president now coming in, because the new parliament will come in with a new president, then he will bring in what is called a validation bill. You bring in those bills which will validate the actions that were done and procedurally. So it means nothing, and it amounts to nothing much, apart from political posturing and making some headlines. It doesn't amount to much. 2, they will still meet in the committees. But even the committees, are they really doing serious work? I doubt. Because now they are all out there campaigning. So what they do is appear, sign for the allowance, then you disappear and go out there and start campaigning, so that you are able to get some little money. The question is, if you don't want the government, the executive, to draw the money, where do you want the money to pay the allowances to come from? The executive might as well play mischief and say that, look, now we don't have money even to pay the MP salaries. So all you need to do is, if you want to hold them hostage, is they don't release money to Parliament. You can as well decide you are not bringing in that motion. Then on your same month, if they have not released money, they are lucky they normally get paid by 4th. Then next month, you delay the whole process. Next month, there is no money. You can't pay them. Tell them you can't pay mileage. You can't pay the rest of the things because you don't have the money, because I've not passed the bill. So that they're all stuck here. But you know, we don't have very smart guys around the president who are thinking that way. So if they were there,
actually,
seriously, if they were there, if they think they are creating a stalemate and paralyzing Uhuru and
the 2 months could also be hell for them.
Yeah, you make it hard for them so that they have no money. Let them get stuck here. They can't get allowances.
Yes.
They can't get salaries. So they can't move. You know, you tell them, look, I don't have the money. You refuse to sit. So if you have not approved this, the law does not allow me to spend. So let us stay this way. You will see them all troop there with the heads board, because now you have no choice. So they need, but you see, right now, the way he said, the political class does not think with reason. They are thinking with emotion. A guy who looks for a parliamentary seat, I've been there before. They don't reason. If you told him that he gives you those shoes and walks naked so that he is guaranteed for election, he will do it. Some of them, even if you told them to lend you the wife for 6 months, as long as that will guarantee him re-election,
position,
they will do it. So that is where the class is.
To you,
very unfortunate, but that's where
that's where we are.
Yes,
that's where we are. Andrew, where did the earthquake find you, and what are the chances?
Yes.
Now that we have seen, as you say, they are flexing their muscles. Now we see the UDA is a little bit strengthened, but at the end of the day, let's be also objective. Some of the MPs have jumped ship after they saw that the ANC, they saw the earthquake is not working for them, including ANC.
They became casualties.
So do you think that UDA is more stronger or more vulnerable?
What I can tell you is, even personally, I was present during the earthquake thing.
But you didn't expect it, right?
Yeah, we didn't expect it. But even our party leader, you know, we were at a church function. He did not say whether something was going to happen like that. But once we finished the church, somewhere around Kajiado, Konaparidi, then he said, we are going to bomb us. So then we started the journey. But I can tell you, the politics of this country, you know, we are mature in politics in a manner that we can intermingle within the parties. That was a function for ANC, but we were invited as UDA, and we were there in numbers, specifically the aspirants and sitting members of parliament, to welcome the decision that was going to be given out. But I can tell you, my surprise was, once we arrived there, the former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka and Gideon Moi, they were running. They ran out of the function. I think if they were bold enough, they were to stay and stand their ground. We are here. We are invited by our brother.
But they have already said that they're also in the darkness, and they didn't know of that. Right?
So then, you know, decency and etiquette would have demanded.
Yes, at least they would have
should have told them that, look, we are getting into new
alliances.
Yeah, that was
he had informed Cyrus Girong. I spoke to him and he told me he was informed. But I don't think Kalonzo and Gideon were informed. So, you know, I mean, you are in Oka. You believe you are working on an alliance. The next minute, your partner is going to bed with somebody else. He doesn't even have the decency to tell you. So naturally, I mean, Gideon and Ruto don't see eye to eye. They have been fighting over the supremacy of the rift, especially the Kalenjin nation. And Ruto, of course, has an upper hand. He is, for all intents and purposes, he's the king there. So, naturally, Gideon is not comfortable. Kalonzo had his own intentions. Maybe he wanted Oka to possibly run as a candidate, deputized by Musalia, or to possibly position himself as the boss there, so that if they are to get into negotiations with either Azimio or UDA, he negotiates now from a position of strength. Because if you are the head of that coalition, then he will possibly have negotiated for running mate, although the possibility of getting it was also still slim. But you see, now that all that was thrown into disarray by the entry of William Ruto in that function.
But I think what is important is some of the political decisions we make, they usually come as a surprise. The serious political decisions. Just let us move back and see the handshake. We woke up in the morning And we saw Raila and Uhuru shaking hands. No one knew. So that is exactly the same thing I can say that happened on Sunday. Such that now it brings that surprise, then the earthquake thing coming in, and then you can see now that arrangement. I can tell you that we have to watch the political calculations that are still going on. We even don't know tomorrow whether Kalonzo will also do something, even Gideon, we don't know. So there is much more to come in the political realignment that as we head to August. So there's much more to happen. But what I can say is that was a political move. And to me, I support because it had to be like that.
Actually, I wanted to ask, do you support that? Because we have seen some MPs, including ANC deputy party leader, jumping ship. Some
Ayub Savura had already left ANC. You can see he was in Bukungu.
But it must have been brought about because of the dalliance between Musalia and the DP.
Exactly. What happens when such decisions are being made? There are two ways. There are those who run away, there are those who remain to push the agenda of their alignment. So that is not something new. Even tomorrow, even if we have another rearrangement, we are going to have people running away and those that are remaining to push on with their agenda. So that is common, it is normal in politics. And we expected that. But I can tell you the numbers still have come to this UDA side. And that is what we wanted.
Okay. Martin, looking at the earthquake, the Sunday earthquake, 2 days after that, the head of state calls leaders from Western Kenya. What do you read of that as an analyst?
That is, they must have been called to plan a counter strategy, a counter move, because Wetangula and Musalia have moved. So, you know, for all intents and purposes, they have killed Oka. So, because what is now remaining is Kalonzo and Gideon. We don't know whether Jirongo is still there. So that is no longer Oka. Then Musalia moves with a few of the MPs. You know, that speaks volumes, because he tells you he didn't consult a lot extensively. And that's when the chips are down, it's going to affect him. Musalia is my elder brother, my friend. But he makes at times blunders. I don't know if there's a jinx, because in 2002, when he looked like he was poised for the presidency, he goofed. He is in LDP. Raila goes to Vihiga and says Musalia will be the candidate, so that they push NAK into an arrangement. He backtracks and becomes vice president for 3 months. In 2013, in 2007, he comes back and runs with Raila, and they ran a very formidable campaign. In fact, the general feeling has been that Raila won that election. Although there is no, you know, Kriegler said, we don't know who won the election.
Yeah.
But those of us who are aligned towards that side thought that Raila won that election. So he comes back, he runs, they ran a very formidable campaign. And he was a running mate. Then the thinking was they would continue working together in 2013, so that now they're able to complete the journey they started together. Unfortunately, he blunders again. First of all, there was the Madimon saga. You remember where he said that they went and ate mandazi in his home.
Yes.
And promised him that he will be presidential candidate. I mean, for heaven's sake, how do people just walk in, eat mandazi, and tell you that you'll be president, and you believe it? You know, I don't know. Westerners, we are very trusting, but my brother at times over trusts. So they duped him. A few days later, Uhuru then, who was a candidate, comes and says that some spirits had spoken to him to give Musalia the ticket, the Madimoni saga. So Musalia ends up with UDF, which he was claiming was being backed by President Kibaki then. He ran a campaign which was weak, and he came in a poor third. with 487,000 votes, with about 12 MPs or so. A few days later, he again goes back to bed with the same guys who had called him names. You know, he got his MPs. They did a post-election coalition with Jubilee. Very strange, you know. A few months ago, people call you names. They duped you, you didn't get the ticket. The next minute, you are back to bed. I mean, doesn't... I don't know whether it's to call it the Warthog syndrome, because it's strange. You forgotten so fast. Fast forward to 2022. The Luya nation, where I come from, and if you listen to the FM stations, if you listen to the people, I've been going to the village a lot last year. So the people generally believed that Musalia should go the whole hog.
And even his MPs
they insisted, they insisted, and they believed that even if he were to come in third, there was a possibility of forcing a runoff. And even if he didn't force a runoff, you run and get formidable numbers in terms of MPs, MCAs, governors, and even the votes, so that it's able to put you on the table. And the argument has been, Raila has been running and losing, but still he finds himself at the center of national politics. And he's able to push and get some of the things that people who claim to be in government can get.
That is what people expected.
That is what the people expected, and that is what the electorate there are saying. So look at his MPs, and that's now where DAP comes in. You see, Sabula is gone. Bishop Hamala left yesterday.
Nabulindo also?
Nabulindo left. Aseka, who is my MP, left. So there has been serious hemorrhage. So basically, if you look at the larger, the current Kakamega County, Musalia now does not have any member of parliament. They have all gone.
They decamped.
And also, now he is remaining only with the senator, you know.
Yes.
And the senator has been at the heart of those negotiations. He's been the main link between the Ruto camp and the Musalia camp. So for obvious reasons, he will in defect. But you know, that weakens Musalia considerably. He is now remaining with Adagala, who is in Viga, the women rep. He's remaining with Kagesi and Agoi, and of course Milemba. So there are only 4. Then Bunyasi is still there, but there's quite a bit of grumbling. I think he is also not kept in the loop. So it weakens him. Wetangula had lost quite a number of his MPs. You remember the fights in Ford, Kenya?
Yes.
Wamunyinyi has left, Eseli has left. The other ones had gone to Tangatanga earlier. So there was a joke doing rounds on social media that he held a PG meeting and he had only 2 MPs, Kalasing and I think himself. So, you know, it is very serious because he has also lost quite a number of his MPs.
Okay.
So the main beneficiary here is DAP. Because if you look at most of those MPs who have left ANC and Ford Kenya, they are headed to DAP. So,
and we are going to look at the DAP factor because at least it's also shaping up the politics of Western Kenya. But Andrew, looking at a lot of people are talking about Musalia has been swallowed by UDA, and you as an UDA affiliated politician, you're saying that you welcome that move. Question is, where do you place Musalia? Because as we were talking here earlier, Andati has said very well, and we've heard it in media, the 2 presidential contenders, that is the DP and ODM leader, they have talked about giving the running mate position to someone from the mountain. So where do you place Musalia in this equation and Wetangula?
Okay, that is a good question. First and foremost, we are just in the process of formalizing the coalition working agreement, and in this case now, Musalia, you know, is a presidential material.
Yes, according to his party.
According to his party, he's our president. And also in UDA, William Ruto is our president. Now, what happens is the kind of negotiations that they're going to have, because this one they have to agree amongst themselves, then they tell us this is the way to go. As the soldiers obviously will be told we are going left and we go left, or right and we go right. But what is happening is, I think he commented about Musalia losing the ground. I am not supporting that. Why? Because initially in Oka, Musalia was being seen like he doesn't have direction.
Yes.
So during that period, most of the members of parliament may decide to take their own direction because our boss is not giving us direction. Now he has given direction. I am 100% sure that even if those who left earlier, they may not join him, will get formidable possible members of parliament in the next election coming in. So he still has the ground, and the people of Western need to see and analyze this agreement and come with facts, not to work
How
on
do you
emotions.
analyze an agreement which is not there?
Let me tell you, not to react on emotions, that now Musalia has joined Ruto and now we have to move. That one will not assist. What will assist is, why has Musalia joined William Ruto? His manifesto agrees with William Ruto's
without trying to flower it or color it. That's what they say, that my system and his system, they kind of coincide. But where do you place him in this matter?
Now, Musalia is going to be at the center of the UDA government, or whatever agreement we are going to come up. It is possible. It is possible. He can be even deputy president. He can be any position, any senior even position within there. So that one, because we leave it to the party leaders. Let them agree.
Another question.
Give us a direction.
Do you believe? Of course, we're gonna. I'm informed that the office of the attorney. Not attorney, but the Auditor General. The Auditor General, she is speaking. So first of all, let's cross over. But when we come back, we will answer the question of where does Mudavadi fit in this jigsaw puzzle that started on Sunday. Let's first of all cross over to the Serena Hotel.
Learned from our previous strategic plan period that the Office of the Auditor General has taken the prudent step of developing this strategic plan to guide our work in the next 5 years so that we remain future relevant auditors and a value-adding institution. We have made some achievements in our previous strategic plan for 2018-2021, and we are transitioning from that. The previous plan ushered in reform initiatives aimed at reorienting OAG, or the Office of the Auditor General, to respond to the expanded constitutional mandate, improved service delivery to the public, and the reforms that have been taking place steadily in public finance management. To give a few highlights, we have restructured the office to provide more efficient and effective services, created new directorates, units, and decentralized to the countries. We have 3 additional regional offices covering Lower Eastern in Machakos, South Nyanza in Homa Bay, and we have also created a separate office in Nairobi to cover the counties surrounding the Nairobi area, including Nairobi County itself. And this is to ensure high efficiency and to expand the scope and depth of audit for greater accountability, quality, and timely reporting. We still have to continue with further decentralization for more impact. We have constructed regional offices to house our staff. It is still not enough, and we are still seeking space and funds to continue constructing offices to house our staffs and to reduce the costs that we incur in renting premises. We have developed a framework for tracking implementation of audit recommendations to enhance accountability in the use and management of public resources for improved service delivery. And this draft framework we have done with partnership from parliamentary staff. We have developed a citizen accountability engagement framework and established a Citizen Accountability Audit Unit to ensure structured engagement with citizens during audits, especially on the projects that have a direct impact on the people. We have leveraged on ICT to improve efficiency. The office implemented an audit management system, and we are very glad to see our partner here, and other online platforms for remote working. We adopted flexible working hours and shifts in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic for the staff, and the use of technology ensured that we did not shut down. We were still able to audit and report to Parliament as required by the Constitution. I have to admit, Honourable Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, that we have seen great improvement in the entities that we audit. We have seen more streamlined operations. We have seen improved record keeping. We have seen reduced audit issues. And we have seen physical evidence that there is development taking place in our country. And we must commend the institutions for that. However, there is still a lot more to be done to enhance accountability, transparency, and effectiveness in the use, management, and protection of public resources. Indeed, we have seen improvements in the audit opinions issued for the various public sector auditees. For instance, the number of unmodified or clean opinions audit reports for the MDAs has increased from 30 or 27% in financial year 2015-2016 to 65 or 42% in the financial year 2019-2020. We must recognize that. Similarly, the number of disclaimer of opinion issued has reduced from 15, that is 14% in 2015-2016, to 11, that is 7% in the financial year 2019-2020. And I hope when I consolidate the final reports, we shall see more improvement at the MDAs. And that is at the national government level. A similar trend has been noted in the county executives, where the number of disclaimer of opinion audit reports issued has reduced from 25 or 53% in 2014-2015 to just 1. And we must appreciate the counties because there have been tremendous improvement despite some of the challenges that they face. We only had 1 disclaimer in financial year 2019-2020, and we hope that one will ease out of the disclaimer position and move and advance positively. Again, the number of adverse opinion also reduced from 16 or 34% in 2014-2015 to just 5 or 11% in 2019-2020. It is our hope that the county executives, and I hope this message goes to the county, to the Council of Governors, that they shall improve their systems and operations so as to get clean opinions and reduce the other audit issues we raise under lawfulness and effectiveness and under internal controls. So what are our strategic priorities for the next 5 years? And this was demonstrated to you by CPA Edwin, Deputy Auditor General. In our effort to enhance accountability and transparency in the public sector, we will focus on 3 strategic priority areas. Priority area 1 is to enhance the quality of audit services for improved management of public resources. And amongst many strategies, a few of the strategies we want to employ is carrying out in-year audits. We shall endeavor to provide audit services that continuously meet professional standards, and to achieve this, we will carry out in-year, in-depth audits on lawfulness and effectiveness in the use and management of public resources as mandated by Article 229 of the Constitution. However, this will only be possible if public sector entities, our auditees, fully implement the in-year quarterly financial reporting as required by the Public Finance Management Act 2012, and we hope that this will be enforced. We also need to speak about accrual basis of accounting. And this has to be brought on board in partnership with the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board and the National Treasury. We are appealing to the government to move to accrual basis of accounting. This is a critical move to the accountability process. It informs government decision-making from whole of government perspective, It will improve transparency in government financial performance, including full disclosure of pending bills, enhanced disclosure and management of public assets, and enhanced accountability and transparency in resource mobilization, allocation, reallocations, and utilization. Chief Guest, Honorable Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, we want to speak about performance audits. We shall also enhance the value and benefits of the audit reports, and this is informed by the fact that our mandate is not just about auditing and reporting. We play a critical role in influencing the country's development and the delivery of sustainable service delivery. Indeed, audit services and audit reports are critical in monitoring and evaluating the outcome and impact of the management and use of public resources, and providing valuable information on whether we as a country are achieving our development priorities and service delivery objectives. In this regard, we shall continually engage Parliament to discuss and make recommendations with regard to the performance audit reports. We have in the recent past issued over 40 performance audit reports touching on various sectors.
That is Nancy Gadongo, who is the Auditor General of the Republic of Kenya, and they are talking about the Office of the AG as well, talking about the Office of the Auditor General will better infrastructure, as now they are currently in rented offices, talking about enhancing accountability in public resources, talking about partnership that will aid accountability in public funds, and also structured engagement with Kenyans to ensure that in case of any accountability issues, Kenyans, they know very well. And also, Martin, as we continue the conversation, she talked about the last time the Auditor General talked about a third of Kenya's budget going to corruption, which is something that we are hoping that our leaders are going to touch on as well. You can touch on that. As we look at the Ma and Mount Kenya Foundation, they were in a hotel here in Nairobi. And the question is, the DP has been holding rallies almost each and every day. But looking at Azimio, it has had some closed meetings every now and then. Is that a strategy as well? But before you touch on that, let's first of all hear what they had to say yesterday.
Maasai as an identity, be proud to be a Maasai, but don't think that you are better than a Kikuyu. Don't think that you're better than a Luo or a Mkamba. Let Mkamba not think that he's better than a Mjikenda. We are all Kenyans. We can change our country if you are determined. If we really want to do it, we can do it. And we must just look at the causative factors and the solutions. And if we do that, Kenya will be able to reclaim its rightful place in the community of nations of the world.
Hatutaki 51%, mukirudi nyumbani museme tunataka baba awe na 70%.
I know he can bring this country together. He can leave us in a better, more unified country, and he can look back from where we've come from.
There are those that, if God forbid, should assume the leadership of this country will be put on mortgage. And mark my words, and so we have a duty
that the two communities took an oath that none will ever spill each other's blood.
Azimio la Umoja Kenya, of course, meeting there with the Ma leaders yesterday. And as I had said earlier, a lot of people are talking about the DP is on the ground each and every day, while Baba has decided to be holding some few meetings as opposed to the many rallies that the DP is doing almost every day. What do you make of that as a political
Everybody
stand?
has their own strategy. And you know, Raila used to do more rallies than DP is doing currently. but he's never been president. So you can run all over the place, and ultimately, when the chips are down, the numbers might not add up. You remember in the last American elections, you had Biden, an old man like Raila, and we didn't see much of it, and Trump was really laughing and saying that he's the worst opponent. If I were to lose to this one, I don't know what I'll do. So I think, with age comes wisdom. And you still have 7 months now to elections. So they are doing a combination of both. You've seen they do the town halls. They are also doing the rallies. But they are not doing, the DP is almost doing double the rallies that Raila is doing. Because he's younger, he has a lot of energy, he's restless, and he wants the presidency like yesterday. So he's really out there campaigning. And he's fit. You give it to the man,
Yes.
The Swahili say, mgema umue, hakini haki yake umpe. The guy has tremendous energy.
Yes.
And he's very fit.
Yes.
So
we need to pick up the pace, gentlemen. And I can see from our viewers, Jackson Koromicha, Mudavadi has taken a good step, fed up with Raila's political gluttony. And Oscar Master K says, I'm loving this conversation. Please ask the friend in yellow if truly Mudavadi has the ground. Why does he always threaten to run? And why does he think ANC is better in UDA? Good. Perhaps you can you can answer that.
That is a good one. It's directed to me.
Yes.
And I can say Mudavadi is not losing the ground.
But
He's
it's
actually
in
now
exit by
there is exit. There are those who are coming in, so we don't rule out that one. And also, he has joined hands with a very strong party, which is going to make a very strong, formidable. You see, with UDA, without Mudavadi, we already have had support in Western Kenya, and now with Mudavadi, our support is becoming solidified. So he's gaining the ground. Just to watch this pace to the elections day, you will see how the ground will change. There are very many things that are going to change, and that is going to define the politics of this country. But what the question is, there is a comment which has been given that Mudavadi has become tired with Raila. That one is very clear. You see, he supported Raila quite a number of times. Even last election, 2017, he did not run for president.
I thought Musalia was supposed to run for president, not support Raila.
He did not run for...
So the issue of being tired with Raila is neither here nor there.
Let me tell you.
He has all along been posturing like he's going to run.
It
has nothing to do with him supporting Raila.
That, a good politician, sometimes you say, let me sacrifice my ambition and support this brother of mine. Once he wins, he'll serve his term, and then mine comes.
You've said that Mudavadi is winning some ground, losing a few, but gaining.
Yes.
But you might end up losing a lot than you're gaining.
That one, I can tell you, it is not going to happen. Why? Because those members of parliament who already left, they had already left.
They didn't. They left when
those are the ones that were hanging on, waiting to see what Musalia is doing. Then they ran away.
That is not true.
Perhaps you can respond to that, bringing in the DAP factor in the exit, because they are not just leaving the party and looking for other parties. They are leaving and going to DAP. Perhaps you can touch on the same.
I think my brother here doesn't understand Western politics. I'm a Westerner. I'm a political animal.
Yes.
I analyze politics. I understand politics. So I can speak authoritatively on Western politics and national politics. Musalia was meant to be a presidential candidate. But deep down, even in the villages, when you go and talk to the people, they will tell you they don't think he'll be a candidate. So I think our Luhya masses are miles and miles ahead of us. Even when we try to tell the people that Musalia will run, they still never believed. Of course, you could see when you talk to him, there is no conviction. You know, he lacks self-belief. You know, if you don't believe that you are going to be a president yourself, how do the other people believe that you are going to run? So it was basically posturing. And when you look at the numbers, and you will see it very soon, there are those Musalia diehards. Of course, are not very many. He will move with those ones to UDA. Wherever he goes, he'll go with them. But there are also quite a big block of voters who had initially been supporting Raila, who got disillusioned with Raila, who believed that now it is time to vote one of their own. And that is a majority. It could be 60% or more of the people who are supporting him. They are very disillusioned. And he will not transfer that support to William Ruto. But you know, he has eaten into some of the numbers that last time went to Raila. The numbers he will be transferring to William Ruto, which might not be very huge, were last time on the Jubilee side. But you know, Raila has also made inroads in the mountain. You see, Raila never got much support in the mountain last time. So he is now making some inroads. We don't know how much support he has gained, and whether that will be enough to neutralize the numbers that he will be losing this other side. So what now will inform this position is they have to work on a Scott Act policy so that they go out there, because this election is going to be won in two fronts. One, if Kalonzo decides to go the whole hog, it complicates things for both candidates. Because if Kalonzo flips and goes to William Ruto today, the election is over. However hard Raila tries, he will not win. That one I can tell you for free. And you know, I'm speaking on national television.
Yes.
Yeah, on the national.
You speak with so much conviction.
Yeah, that one I can tell you. So if Kalonzo flipped today,
yes,
and went to William Ruto, it's over.
But the chances.
So the only question is, will he flip? And especially Musalia having now abandoned him, does he join Musalia the other side? I don't think he would. So that now leaves the question: will he join Azimio? The question is, what does he get?
Okay.
Or the other alternative is, does he run as a candidate?
Yes,
does he have the resources now to run as a candidate? So those are now some of the things that are on the table. Then now you asked the question of DAP.
Yes.
You know, I was one time the county secretary of ODM in Kakamega, so I understand ODM politics. We were there for quite some time. People were mistreated, including me. The nominations were messed up. Candidates were embossed. Arrogance set in. Most of these guys were actually, even him, if he was in politics, he'll tell you one time, if he's from Kisii, he could have been an ODM member, even unofficial. So all these guys you see now, including William Ruto,
that is why you guys jumped ship.
Were in ODM. So some arrogance set in.
Exactly.
And people are treated like rubbish. So they decided to move out. And the feeling now, the Luhya nationalism is at its peak. So even now, because DAP is basically anchored around Eugene Wamalwa, who is CS Defense. He is the force behind it. You asked whether it's a government project. The project, I would say, is a Eugene Wamalwa project. He is the force behind it. So he's not an official of the party. But I think he's the main guy bankrolling it. He's the main guy driving the activities around them.
Okay.
And you see, they have made serious inroads. Look at Trans Nzoia. They have gotten Atembea, the former regional commissioner, who is a very formidable candidate in Trans Nzoia. They have gotten Wangamati, who is the current sitting governor in Bungoma. They have gotten Wamunyinyi, who is the MP.
The former speaker. Okay, because of the interest of time,
is not there.
Let's also be fair to the DP, because together with his allies, perhaps you can comment on this. Let's first of all hear the DP talking about his dalliance and his association with ANC as a party and Musalia Mudavadi.
Ni kuunganisha taifa lote la Kenya. Ile siasa tumekataa ni siasa ya kugawanya Wakenya katika misingi ya kabila na dini na kijiji na kona, kwa sababu kuna wale wanasukuma vyama ambazo zimetengenezwa ya sehemu na kijiji na kabila fulani, na hizi chama zinatengenezwa saa hizi kwa sababu wako na njama ya kujaribu kugawanya Wakenya, ndio watu wachache waendelee kuwa na usemi, waendelee kuamulia Wakenya wengine, kwa sababu hawataki Wakenya waungane, kwa sababu Wakenya wakiungana, wakiwa na umoja, watakuwa na uwezo wa kujiamulia yale mambo wanahitaji.
UDA, thank you so much.
And that is the DP side yesterday talking about the ANC. They haven't announced the merger, yes? They just said they're working together. Perhaps you can respond to that. Steve Shira from Lolgorian says Ruto will win. Lolgorian.
Exactly. Yeah, he's in Kilgoris.
He'll win.
He says he will.
What I can say is the working partnership, the partnership between UDA and ANC is still in kitchen. So we do not want to preempt what is going to happen. We are waiting to get exactly what is going to happen.
But why do you think the addition of ANC and Ford Kenya forms a very formidable team when it comes to UDA?
You see, like what the DP has said, we have had very many parties coming up, like the DAP, you are saying it is a party which came the other day, and we are hearing that it is harvesting more formidable aspirants for positions coming in the next election. You see, those are the parties which have been formed to divide, even if...
But even UDA came the other day.
Let me tell you.
UDA actually has one
MC. It has a national look. It has a national... DAP is just is in Western Kenya. So what I'm saying is, UDA has been here, even if it is for the shortest time, but it is everywhere in Kenya. What we are going to ask is, even if Raila won as president, you will have members of parliament from DAP, from all those parties, and in parliament, Raila's party may not have the majority. What happens then if something happens and these parties move away from Raila? They don't give him support. It means he's going to be a president without command in parliament. So that is one thing that as UDA we are trying to measure and see that we have numbers in parliament who are going to make decisions for the benefit of this country. So for me to say, the deputy president has set the standards, and that is what we need to emulate. Let us have, at least Kenya, we need to go to a position whereby we are going to have 2 or 3 parties that are going to be parties of a national look, where we discuss now issues, not tribes.
And also on the same, the DP did talk about small parties. He actually called them regional parties.
Yes.
But Ford Kenya, we know very well, it's allied mostly, and also ANC.
Ford Kenya has been here for how many years? From the time of Jaramogi.
It has been.
Yes.
But looking at the time of Jaramogi and now, a lot of things have changed.
Of course, it might have lost the ground, but it was a national party. In fact, the oldest of all these parties. So it is not a regional. NC is not regional.
Because I'm surprised that he decided to work with the 2 people but left out Akina CCM, Akina Mount Kenya Forum.
Yeah, the parties the DP is questioning about these parties which are being formed today, like DAP, there are very many of parties which are being formed today.
Okay. But perhaps you can respond to that, Martin. What the ODM leader chances now that DAP is there?
DP has realized that putting on arrogance and bravado, his numbers are not adding up. Look at all the polls that have been conducted. He had gone up to 39% of the total vote. He's come down to around 36, 38. Raila is at 25 currently. Musalia was at 2.4. Kalonzo was at 1.6. Last poll. So he realizes that he needs an extra 14% of the vote to be able to to hit 50% plus one. The only problem is he does not have very smart guys who can tell him where that 14% is. He thought by getting Musalia, of course, getting Musalia and Wetangula narrows the gap towards the 50%, the magical 50% plus one. But you know, the real numbers, which will be able to tilt those numbers, are not where he's looking. And you need people who have smart thinkers, and of course for a fee. Then they will be able to tell you how to hack the... Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you see, that's where the problem is.
Yes.
You have a whole 40% of the voters, 35-40% undecided.
Yes, that's a
so
big
it's
chunk.
huge.
Actually,
so what you need to find out is, and the CDP has been campaigning for 10 years. So the question is, after campaign, yes, he started campaigning in 2013. Immediately they finished when the elections, they started campaigning. Then campaigned for Uhuru, he started in 2017, immediately after elections.
Yes.
He's been all over the place.
Okay.
But you see, the numbers are stuck.
Yes.
So they need to find out. And you know, the Musalia move is good because it adds him some numbers. But not the huge numbers they expected to tilt. They will not, because you know, the Luhya nation is like Kisi, where he comes from. Look at how Kisi voted last elections. All sorts of parties got MPs.
Okay.
In fact, there is no single ODM MP.
We are running out of time. We are running out of time. I would want... You're actually vying, from what I've seen, you're vying in a place that Kajiado North, which is more or less perceived to be... yes, it is a cosmopolitan. How do you intend to boost the UDA votes there now that you are in a new alliance?
Actually, let me tell you, Kajiado North is a cosmopolitan constituency, whereby we have all tribes of Kenya, even including the foreigners from other countries. Kajiado North understands more about politics. You can see the history of Kajiado North has been that those parties that come with that image of a national looking have always won the elections. So even as we speak on the ground, Kajiado North is UDA. If you are out of UDA, then you must be having very nice, convincing language.
So let's say you're the next MP for Kajiado North.
Yes, I'm the next member of parliament.
And that are you back in politics again? Are you going to try it again?
Politics, so he'll not understand. Let me correct him.
I've run for member.
You cannot come from Kibia and run for MP here.
I've run for... Let me clarify.
You're running out of time.
I've run for member of parliament from 2013. I was in ODM. It has been very difficult to win. But Jubilee, TNA comes in, wins. Jubilee comes in, wins. I'm still in ODM. So, the constituency where I'm running under UDA, that is where we are going to have member of parliament from. And I want to tell the people of Kajiado North,
yes,
give me this opportunity, I'll be able to work for you.
All right. And that are you going back there again in politics or not now?
No, I'll just be here doing this stuff with you.
Final word as we cross over to...
There are a lot of things which are going to happen. And... you know, for once we have a very interesting election because last year at a time 6 months to elections, it was very clear that Uhuru and Ruto will be re-elected. They were struggling, yes, but all the indicators were that they retained power.
Yes.
Now you have 7 months to elections, and nobody seems to know who is going to be our next president. Ruto is front runner as of now.
Yes.
But the dynamics keep on shifting. If you asked anybody who will be the governor of Nairobi in August, nobody seems to know. So it's good. And you know, it means even if you want to be president, every vote will have to count. So for every vote to count, you will have to really persuade. You will have to do a lot of deal making. You will have to do a lot of horse trading and try to bring in the guy who will be able to build the most broad-based coalition. Is a guy who will be president.
So
of course, the issue of resources, there is a possibility. You know, there is still Kalonzo out there, and he still has some serious hold on the Kamba nation.
Yes.
Ruto has made some inroads there. but not as much. Raila has made some inroads, but the Raila team needs to be advised. Trying to undermine Kalonzo the way they were undermining Musalia, because that's what they also did.
Okay.
And that is part of the reason that made Musalia angry. The decisions he made were largely out of anger.
All right.
So when they went buying some of his MPs, he got annoyed. Now, trying to get Ngilu, Kibwana and Mutua to undermine Kalonzo so that you put pressure on him to be able to come on board might also backfire. You do that, Kalonzo decides enough is enough, he jumps the other side. The election is over. So they need to be very strategic. They need to look for a way of, build the ability to build the most broad-based coalition and reach every voter. And another issue, just lastly before I finish, the use of social media. They are not using social media effectively. Apart from the memes and whatever here, have you seen serious campaign messages being sent out by the two camps, the three camps? No, there is nothing. You don't need IBC, but they're already campaigning.
That's true.
So they need to be doing Zoom meetings, structured meetings. They have not largely exploited social media. That's why you've seen the youth have refused to register.
The voter.
So they need
to have taken that as well.
Maximize. That's why I'm telling you the two formations need people who can think. And you invest in knowledge so that you're able to help them with some of those ideas, which will ultimately tilt the vote.
Okay. I see Oscar Master K, UDA members, including Ruto, should resign today. If they are truly serious, they have the numbers. That's the only earthquake. Besides that, UDA and ANC are but small regional parties. Ruto, happy 2017 nominations worked. Another one says Raila is a man or the other people have clung to for their political growth. He is one man whose stature Ruto would like to grow to be. Okay, I don't know exactly how it meant, but Mudavadi's step is suicidal and won't make any impact to UDA now that Mudavadi can't be vice president to Ruto. Okay. That's some of your views, but unfortunately we are out of time. We have had that sweet conversation. We are bound to even have a sweeter conversation where we will be talking about matters apiculture. Well, if you don't know what that is, tune in the next couple of minutes. But before then, let's first of all head back to the Serena Hotel, where the Office of the Auditor General is launching its 5-year strategic plan.
When you spoke and my friend whatever spoke about social accountability, you notice that seemed to excite them a bit, and they might have started looking for you to say one or two things. When Archbishop Abukala spoke about asset recovery, they got a bit excited because that's now what makes sense to them. These are the processes. Very, very serious discussion that has happened here. If you want to check, you'll find it in page 34. Because they will not say they can't make sense out of it. They will want to see whether, you can see whether there are any features here about an earthquake. So that for them that is what is news. I'm saying this because yesterday, before we go to the Rankra's situation that has been reported widely in the House, as happens usually, the leader of the majority party in the House usually tables certain documents. And one of the documents that I recall he tabled about 25 reports, many of them from the Office of the Auditor General. Some, I want to confirm, like the Auditor General has spoken, to do with performance audits. And then among them was Treasury Memorandum. These people will not look at it. That Treasury Memorandum is on the implementation status of the various recommendations that have been made by Parliament. And when Parliament makes those recommendations, it is technically and heavily reliant on the services from the Office of the Auditor General. In fact, the Office of the Auditor General, traditionally, in many functioning democracies, is the technical arm of any functioning legislature. But because it's, as you say, it's technical, now it doesn't quite find it's not exciting. But you see, it would be important that the consumers see if the Auditor General reported on this. Subsequent hearings happened. The Parliament made recommendations. Some of our recommendations go to the implementing ministries, departments and agencies, or directly to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to do further investigations, because Parliament is ill-equipped. And as you know, nobody goes to Parliament on account of expertise at investigations. Citizens know why they elect you and not me. So it's not necessarily on the basis of their technical capacity or competencies. And therefore, I'm giving this example because just to illustrate the nexus between the Office of the Auditor General and Parliament. I have over the years been urging that this nexus, and I'm happy what the Auditor General has stated here, is now going down to the counties by the opening of the various regional offices, because so much resources have been revolved. It's only fair that the citizenry, through the process that the Auditor General has indicated, of even the process of audits, engaging with them, that's a form of public participation in the process, which is one of the values captured in Article 10 of the Constitution. So the mandate of Parliament is to look at the reports, debate them, and make appropriate recommendations. That's the only action Parliament is required to do. But I've seen a situation where the members of Parliament feel very frustrated. Sometimes they think they have come to me requesting that I invite policemen to sit around so that they could whisk away people. But obviously that is not their work. The Auditor General has done their work professionally. Do yours, make recommendations. Archbishop Abkala and his team will do the rest. I want to assure you that, as has been the case before, we will continue in our role and mandate to support the Office of the Auditor General. For me, accountability and transparency are key ingredients to preserve public trust in public governance, and our two organizations, the Institution of Parliament and the OAG, have crucial roles in ensuring public resources, as you were stated, are well utilized. The two of us are fundamental actors in the oversight of public spending and the ex post control of budget execution. We complement each other. But I have on occasion found myself in some difficulties. And since I'm talking to professionals in this area, let me just pose this question. During my first term, or at the tail end of my first term as Speaker, and made certain observations, and I felt maybe we need to make some small difference. Every year, well over 40 billion is provided for to Parliament, to members, through what we call now National Government Constituencies Development Fund. Those are not little resources. The Office of the Auditor General dutifully audits what each constituency CDC committee implements. But that report comes to Parliament. It goes before the committee of Mr. Wandai of you. As that was the situation then. It's not Honorable Wandai who was then chair, but I just looked at it and said, but now, the Auditor General has found things that are not clear. The people who are coming to explain, in as much as members of Parliament will keep, pontificating that they are not involved, that they are only patrons. But this is Kenya. Surely, can you imagine a member of Parliament being a patron of a process which disburses resources in his constituency? But a bit of that, because I know he's pending before the Supreme Court, I will not go into the details of. But I don't know, one of the, I haven't met her many times. Sheila, yes, we've discussed this thing with you, and where is the lady of TISA? The Institute for Social Accountability. I like the issues you've raised on that process. So, in a small way, try to address that problem, because it did look nice that now it is another member who is. Remember, most of the members belong to political parties, and decisions in a parliament, in a legislative house or chamber.
That is National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi there giving his speech during the launch of the Auditor General, or the Office of the Auditor General 5-year strategic plan that is being launched at the Serena Hotel. We have our reporter there, Regina Manyara, who will be keeping a keen eye on the same. But just to point out is that he's talked about the oversight role that Parliament has, and when it comes to matters auditing, so that we may ensure that all the money that is spent, that is public money that is spent, is well accounted for. Have a more comprehensive report in our subsequent bulletin. Allow me now to introduce our second topic. I've talked about, we had a sweet, now we have even a sweeter topic now, because we are talking about matters honey. Yes, the bee honey. And I'm joined by two experts here to discuss matters apiculture and how it can be helpful now that in Kenya, as we speak, there's a drought that has stricken parts of the country, and Kenyans are also practicing beekeeping, which is apiculture, as a way to add some money in their pockets and also as food. Allow me to introduce, on my immediate left, we have Frederick Otieno. Karibu sana bana Frederick.
Thank you very much.
Frederick is the CEO of Agriculture Platform of Kenya, APK. Not the party, but also Apiculture. Shares Apiculture, Apiculture Platform of Kenya.
Yes.
Thanks for that correction. And my extreme left, we have Dr. Jafford Ritha from the Chuka University. You wear so many hats. You are the director, farms, buildings, and enterprise, and you're also the chairman, of the Rakanidi County Education Board. Gentlemen, karibuni. Let's talk about this sweet thing.
Yes.
Perhaps to start with you, what is apiculture? And how can it be of economic value to Kenyans?
Apiculture is basically beekeeping, which is an art and science of managing bees and plant resources for the purposes of food, medicinal, and also in income. And beekeeping, very many people have been scared about this thing. But this thing is also beneficial, because they say fuata nyuki ule asali.
No.
So but generally beekeeping, the work of the bees is to pollinate. We have bees and other pollinators. So the main activity of bees is to pollinate crops When pollination happens, you find that even the food production increases. And when the food production increases, you also find that our pockets also get some income. Because
of the pollination, leave alone the honey now.
Yes. Because of the pollination. And you know, when bees are doing the pollination, they're also collecting something from the flowers or the crops. We have the pollen, we have the nectar. These ones, they do them to collect, to use as their own food. And as they store their food in the name of honey and pollen, we human beings also go and steal to use for our own benefit as food and also as medicine. Also, we use these products from the bees to sell and get some income for household use. So you find that enterprise solutions also come in when you are keeping the bees. So apart from pollination, you also get some income. And maybe later we can also discuss on how beekeeping as a whole can also contribute to income or to enterprising solutions to households and also to the common mwananchi.
Okay.
Yes.
Doc, what is the current status of apiculture in the country? I remember growing up, we had those, the old ones, which you have to cut the tree trunk and then make a hive from that. But a lot has changed since then. We also have bees that sting and bees that don't sting. But before then, what is the current stature or the status of apiculture in the country in regards to the situation that we're currently experiencing, that is drought?
Sure. Thank you very much. I appreciate that this country, we have the beekeeping as an enterprise that is probably going through metamorphosis. It's going through the development. To start with, we began with the log beehive. And this log beehive is a traditional method where you cut a tree trunk and then you make it hollow and then you prepare it for the purposes of bees. So where the queen can have some space and also the bees can now make their honey. And the development, that one, of course, you do very little harvesting in terms of the quantity of the kgs of honey you can harvest. But of course, developments have been ongoing. We have made the top hive, Kenya top hive. We've made the Langstroth beehive. So these are, again, improved versions of beekeeping, or beehives rather. And as a result, you are able to get more honey, bees making more honey, and are also harvesting more times within the year. But of course, having said that, you realize as a country, we have not developed this enterprise of beekeeping such that it is given a lot of attention in the country. So as a result, it is not very well established. But moving forward, I think this is a sector that we need to have an eye on, simply because the potentials the potential is there for this sector to develop and also to generate income for the very rural poor and small farmers who can make more income. Of course, both small scale and also it is applicable in a large scale setup. So apiculture development is critical in this country. And I think at this level, I think almost every household, over 90%, they're using the honey as a product. And of course, other products of bees are also being used in the household. Of course, you also realize the lifespan of a bee depends on weather and also the kind of work the bee does. There are those bees that are workers, there are those bees that are drones, there are those bees that the queen bees, and you realize they live different. They have different lifespans. As a result of the climate change, it can affect the way the bees grow.
Actually, I was to come to that question, but a little bit later, how climate change and human action has changed apiculture in the country. But before then, let's first of all delve a little about the bees themselves. As I said, growing up using the log beehives, and you have to go harvest when naked at night with a lot of smoke. But a lot has changed since then. Here there are bees that don't sting, and before this conversation, before we started this conversation, we were talking about that, and you're saying some of the differences that we have. Perhaps you can enlighten us on that.
In fact, I just wanted to add on what Dr. has said about the transition of the technology of hives. You know, like the traditional log hive, very many people, or those people who are living in near the forest, they like it more than this other. But you find that the reason why the changes have occurred is to improve how to manage the bees inside these hives. Because you find that, like, for example, in a log hive, managing the bees there sometimes is very difficult. But you can still get good quality honey. The challenge is that when you don't get honey, but you get, like, for example, the broods only, you will destroy the combs, but you will not be able to return those combs. And even if you will return them, it will give the bees hard time to build and also to rebuild, and also maybe to cement the combs which has been destroyed. And that is the reason why the transition has been going on. Like, for example, the top bar hive, whereby a beekeeper can be able to remove a top bar, then return it when it is not ready, when the honey is not ready, so that you don't destroy that. Then we also have now the Langstroth hive and other modern, the framed hives. So in the framed hive, you find that when a beekeeper extracts the honey, they will not destroy the combs as opposed to the top bar hives. So in the top bar hives, when you remove the honey, you will destroy the whole comb. So giving the bee another time, a longer time to construct the comb. So those are the transitions that has occurred, so that the beekeeper has that easy time to manipulate the bees and also to handle the bees. Now, when we come to the bees now, the bees, I say that we have those ones that has got sting and those ones that has got no sting. The ones that has got sting, we call them Apis mellifera. The other one, we call them Melipona. They are all bees, and they all produce honey.
The same quality?
Not the same quality. Okay. Now, like, for example, the stingless Apis mellifera, they produce a lot. Like, for example, 10 kilos and above.
The stingers one?
No, yeah, the ones which are stinging.
Yes.
So for economic purposes, you can go for them even if they are stinging. So if you come to the stingless one, they may be at most 1 kg. They are not they don't produce a lot.
And they're the same, we share the name African bees. They seem to be
no. They're called Meliponas. Yeah, so they're still African bees. They are still bees, but they don't sting. They don't have the stinger.
Yes, but they don't have the same quality honey as the other ones.
Not really the same quality, but you see, what I said is that the flowers the stingless bees are visiting, they are more than the ones which are being visited by the Apis mellifera because of the size. So, you know, the ones which are got the sting, they are limited to some species of plants which they cannot access. But these other ones, they can access several. And also you will find that even in the stingless bees, they have also different sizes, whereby there are also the bigger ones that cannot access the smaller, the smaller flowers. So it will also depend on the species. And this is the reason why we say that beekeeping is both an art and science. So this science is now what will now give us the several species we are having in this type of bees.
Yes, Doc, you had talked about, of course, the bees have a huge role to play in the ecosystem. I remember years back, beekeeping was more associated with dry regions in the country, like Baringo, the Kamba region, the Lower Eastern. But now, as a commercial, it's quite a viable option of business, how has human activity affected the bees? And also after that, of course, if affecting the bees, it's also affecting the climate as we know it.
Sure, thank you very much. Indeed, bees, they live across the ecological zones. They can do well within the dry areas in terms of arid and semi-arid areas, as well as the highlands, the humid areas. And that's why you see they cut across. There are those who are the bees you find in the dry areas in Kambani, in Tharaka, and other regions, Baringo, and all that. We will also find other bees in the mountain areas like Mount Kenya, within the cold regions. The cold regions. You'll find bees doing well also. Now, the difference arises in terms of the flora, the kind of vegetation that are growing in these areas. And this vegetation, because bee generally as a pollinator, they will pollinate all kinds of plants, both the trees, the shrubs, and also the herbs and the fox, so, and even grasses. So you find the pollination takes across all the plants. So basically, bees will have a role to play, critical role to play in pollination, and this pollination obviously affects the growth of the plant, and also the breeding of the plant and the production itself. So that is why we have to protect and ensure that we have bees. Now, coming to the question you have asked directly on human activities and the climate change, the fact of the matter is, humans, in the course of development and the population increase, people have devised various methods of their survival. Among them is where you find a lot of deforestation has taken place. There is a lot of changes in what we are calling land use change. And because of the land use changes, you find that the farming practices that people used to do in the past, they no longer do them. Like those days when you are young, that people used to farm without using chemicals. Yes. They would farm just more or less like what you used to call shifting cultivation. You don't apply chemicals, and therefore there was nothing affecting the bees. So the bee population was there and all that. Now, as a result, because of these changes of the land use and also deforestation that has taken place, you see people are doing charcoal burning. That means you cut a tree, and the mercurial tree can take longer to grow. If you cut a tree today, to get the same tree probably is to take about 30 to 40 years. That tells you that you reduce the biomass, and also you reduce the where the bees, the extent of the bees to pollinate. Therefore, that effect has affected the bee population and also the honey production. But in terms of the plant species that are there, you find that honey is medicinal. Yes. Why is it medicinal? It is because of the kind of nectar that is picked by the bees. If the bees pick, for instance, a plant like Ocotea sambalensis, or you pick a plant like the murubaine, or the Prunus africana. If a bee pick nectar from such a plant and it uses that nectar to make the honey, it tells you that honey will be medicinal, because the kind of the content is basically what is from that plant, and therefore the honey becomes what? Medicinal. So that is why the environmental conservation, in terms of the species diversity, we have to ensure we have, across the ecological zonations. That way, we'll be able to have, the bees producing honey, the honey that is also medicinal, and therefore, people also end up living longer. There is a product from bees we call propolis, and there is also royal jelly. These are very critical, products from bees, which they are highly medicinal. They are actually solutions to most of the infections, simply because they also get them from the various the plant species. And even as my brother said, you find that there is that bee that is able to get nectar from a flower that is even very deep, because the jewels that which is very important is highly hidden. Highly hidden. So it's a certain bees that are able to get that one. So and even like the queen Royal jelly is what is used to feed the queen, and the queen can live for 3 to 5 years, where a normal bee lives for to around 120, 150 days. Now, you realize that for it to live longer, it is covered and protected, and it is through this very specific material that is provided. So there are those, so I agree with you that aspects of human activities have affected the population of bees, have affected the productivity of bees, and we need to look at so that we ensure. And that is why we appreciate when the president issued the program of afforestation, the 10% tree cover, so to say, that cut across the entire country. When we plant those trees, we are also doing productivity for bees and for honey. So it is not just one aspect. It is a holistic approach of the ecosystem to ensure that we conserve our environment, and by extension, we conserve our bees as well.
Indeed. And Fred, just to add,
I wanted to add something before you, Nini, about the ecological zones and also the temperatures, because you'll find that there are other areas where we say that these are the honey keeping or the beekeeping areas. You'll find that also these climatic conditions also affect the way bees move. You'll find that those areas where there is a lot of humidity, it interferes with the movement of bees. So you'll find that they don't move a lot, as opposed to areas where the temperatures are okay. So that is the reason why you find that other areas the bees like most than the other areas. And also you'll find that as human beings, there is also that thing we call fear. And very many people have that bee phobia. But you will find that there are those people who don't fear. Like even the Maasais, they live with the lions. But you will find that there are all those guys who cannot live, even seeing a lion, they will run.
Yes.
So there are also those people, maybe cultures whereby they can live together with the bees, with the wild animals. And this bee issue, it is something that can be inculcated into bees. We can also remove that fear from the bees so that we get that important thing from the bees for our own benefit. So, yes.
Okay, and my question was in relation to what he said. What is actually the contribution of apiculture in the country, both economically and also to boost the big four? Of course, food security is one of the big four agenda.
Yes. In fact, beekeeping has really contributed a lot. Because when we talk about the issue, like, for example, job creation, for example, beekeeping has employed very many people, including youths and women. Because you find, like, for example, when somebody would like to start a beekeeping project, the thing they will think about is the beehives. Where are the beehives coming from? The artisans, they have to make the beehives so that this beekeeper can buy. When that beekeeper is buying a hive, any particular hive, that person will be getting some income. So a job will have been created. When a beekeeper has produced honey and other products, there are those people who will want to trade in these products. So even the traders will come to buy some honey from the beekeeper to go and sell at a profit. So processing industry will also, the processing bee products will also contribute to job creation to both youths and women, and also even men. The transportation sector. When you want to transport bee products from one place to the other, you will have to pay something. So job creation is there. What about nutrition, food security and nutrition? Bee products, honey, pollen, propolis, all of them, they are source of food. Just like Dr. said, bees go from one plant to the other, collecting nectar and pollen. These are plant origins, which are food and also medicinal. So you will find that beekeeping has contributed a lot. And also the issue of pollination, which is the biggest. When bees are visiting flowers, from one flower to the other, or crops, you will find that productivity of those crops will increase, and therefore food security will have been met. Meaning beekeeping contributes a lot in terms of even the Big Four agenda we have.
Yes. And Doc, perhaps to pick it where Fred has left, Kenya being, you've talked about the humidity and the temperatures. Kenya being a sub-Saharan country has very good temperature for beekeeping, and the demand for honey in Kenya is so high, but the production is still quite low. Why is this?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think Kenya is a favored country in terms of climatic conditions. Where it is located, the equator passes along, cuts between the country, and that is to say we are within the tropics, and therefore you can have the experiences of both summer and winter, even at the same time in this country. There are some areas which are winter while others are in summer.
Yeah.
Now that is to say that we can maintain the productivity of bees in our country, and of course, even when you are talking about the bee movement, where the bees moves and the ability to move, of course, areas where temperatures are high, the bees will tend to move faster and longer distances as compared to cold areas. And our productivity has been low as a country. I can tell you, if we are able to focus on it, I think it's because there has not been a very keen focus in terms of promotion of beekeeping as a value chain in the country. And I'm happy that now government has developed this. There are certain areas in the country where some counties which are prioritizing beekeeping as a value chain. I under discussion with the Agricultural Sector Development Support Program, and there are certain counties that are prioritizing that. That means they are giving promotion to this value chain. I hope that even other counties, even those that may not have prioritized it, they consider that, because it is an enterprise that is as low input cost and with huge income or output that we get from it. So I think if as a country we focus on it, even as at the academia level, because I can tell you, within our universities in the country, I don't think there is any university that is training apiculture as a program at even at a graduate level. Probably when we are developing to masters and PhD, but at graduate level, which is the primary training that we require for this, there is very little being done at certificate and maybe some diploma level. There are a few other countries in Africa that could be developing this, like Tanzania, because there is a lot of honey that comes from Tanzania. They produce a lot, so those ones they are developing. So I think as a country, if we have a focus on it, both at sectoral level within the ministry and also within the academia, and because there is a lot of potential in terms of the private sector who are developing, who are processing honey and making and marketing it, we are able to develop the sector. I think honey is also a product that we can earn a lot of foreign exchange through exporting honey and the products that are related to bees. That is the honey itself, and even the royal jelly I was talked about, the propolis, and if we have beeswax as well, we can also develop that sector. So as a country, we need to have a deliberate effort so that it is developed and it is supported.
Yes, and Fred, Doc has touched something on the byproducts of honey. What are some of the available value addition opportunities in Kenya? And another question, as we were having this discussion, some pictures were on our viewers' screens. How much would one beehive cost? And is it a viable option? 1, 2, 10, 20?
Yeah, maybe if I start with the last one. Different artisans or manufacturers, they have done their cost-benefit analysis on how to sell their products. And maybe averagely, if I talk about the average prices of the beehives, like for example the Langstroth hive, an average price of around 5,500, it can even go up to 7,000 and above. You can also have Kenya top Beehive at between up from 4,500 to 5,000, even up to 6,000, depending on where the raw materials have been found. So I think the scales, economy of scales, is what will make it viable, because you find that when you want to start a beekeeping project, you can start with that with at least 20 beehives, then up to 1,000 or whichever number you want to start with, depending also the space you have. And now when we come to business opportunities in value addition, like for example, if you take for example honey. Honey can make very many things when you add value to other things, like for example cosmetics. When you come to cosmetics, like the facial creams, which whereby the honey can also make even the product to be used for facial creams, or the body creams to make the body soft. They can also be used for like the cough syrup. Yeah, you can also use like a product like beeswax to make even the milking salve for milking, the body cream, the lipstick, the Q-Tex, the polish. Very many products. And we have to import all these products. We have to import, but these are opportunities that has not been explored. And with the training and capacity building, and through the support with the development partners and also the government, I think these are some of the opportunities that can be created, so that we can also create job opportunities to our youths and also our women and even our community members we have. Okay. Yeah, and I also wanted to contribute towards the issue you were talking about on the production. The production, you'll find that some of the challenges we are having is that first of all is data. Data is very, very big issue, because you find that maybe there are some other productions taking place, but it has not been reported. If it has not been reported, no action can be taken. So data is something that can also help us to even help our national government on decision making. Another thing is about the expertise. We have less expertise to ensure that how to manage, how to work with the bees, how to remove that bee phobia among our community members can be done. So if we train our experts, so that we can have many experts or more experts to help our farmers or our beekeepers to get that courage on how to make on how to handle the bees, I think we can also increase the production. Okay. And also the issue of environmental conservation is also very, very key, because without conserving the environment, we will be interfering with the nectar source for the bees, to ensure that the production is increased. Okay. Another thing is also about the pesticide use, how to use them well. I think that is also something that can also be the stakeholders can be brought on board, so that we can discuss on how to use the pesticides safely, so that even the bees and other pollinators cannot be killed. Okay. So those are the issues. Okay,
Doc, your university, Chuka University, is holding a symposium from the 2nd to the 4th of February, and the theme is Aquaculture, the apicultural agenda in addressing climate change, food security, and job creation. Tell us why Chuka University has decided to host this kind of symposium, and what are some of the benefits, or what are some of the things that are going to be discussed in this 2-3 days workshop?
Yeah, thank you. Chuka University is, of course, a public university that is chartered, located in Tharaka Nithi County, Chuka. And the focus, it has a niche area orientation of environmental conservation. And as you may be aware, our Vice Chancellor is an animal scientist. Yes. And being an animal scientist is very passionate. Professor Joka, Erastus Joka, and very committed in agricultural development. Chuka University has an acreage of 623 acres of land. Part of it is a very vast area in the raw area of Bekampangombe that we refer to it as Kaireni Farm, 500 acres. Part of this is to set an apiary for honey production and also for demonstration and training, so that the young people and the youth are able to leverage on this very key sector and make their income. Now, Chuka University, through the faculties, we are focused to develop this enterprise with the name of academic excellence in terms of the programming and also in terms of enterprise development, generating income to supplement income of the university. And Chuka University, being oriented in environmental conservation, together with this, with the campuses that we have in various parts like Chogoria campus, the Tharaka University College, which is also a constituent college of Chuka University, we want to come together and ensure that this symposium that we are developing, we want to have a discussion on the status of the importance, and therefore bring people on board so that they develop the infrastructures are required for this value chain. And we know that as a university, we have 3 main mandates. One of them is training. So we want to train on this sector, and it's in a holistic approach, and how it relates to other disciplines like agriculture, crop production, the rest of the animal keeping, and so how can we integrate this? So we need our farmers to learn that. Number 2 is the research. We want to conduct more research and collaborate more with the like-minded and those who are doing, who are developing value chain along this value chain, and research projects are developed. So as a university, we are going to carry research even through our postgraduate programs, so that our students, we can have more learning in this. And then the last one is on dissemination, where we share and outreach, and we share with others. So the university is committed to this. We know once that concept is understood within the university setup, we are able to create jobs for the youth and the women, because you don't need to own land for you to generate or to make money through bees or through beehives. No, we have the CFAs, the Community Forest Users Associations. We have the RUAs, Water Resource Users Associations, who manage the riparians, and we have also the human farm, the private farms, where people can make income while seated. As they run along the rest, there is integration. Bees are making money for them.
Gentlemen, unfortunately, out of time. I know bees have also been used in places where there is human-wildlife conflict. That is also a discussion we should also have, and also some of the threats to the bee, because at the end of the day, we need to conserve the bees. I've also told a story by my grandmother, who told me a story why the bee and the housefly were brothers, but the grandmother was sending the housefly, and it was refusing to do what it was told. So it was cast and told, you will be feeding from the human waste. And the bee, because it was obedient, was told, people will be eating your waste. And of course, I think that was something interesting that taught us some values. I hope you have learned something. Thank you so much for joining us. I have been hosting 2 of the best when it comes to matters apiculture, and they will be holding a symposium at the Chuka University from the 2nd to the 4th of February, where they'll be talking about apicultural agenda in addressing climate change, food security, and most of all for young people, job creation. I was with Frederick Otieno. Thanks so much for coming, with the CEO Apiculture Platform of Kenya, APK, and of course Dr. Jafford Rida from the Chuka University. You wear so many hats. Allow me, because of the interest of time, to just introduce you the same way. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for watching. My name is Bentroy Njue, and Lucy Mwaura is on the bottom of your screen handling the sign language interpretation. For now, Kurunzi Mashinani.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy.